something out of Soviet Russia or Communist China. Welch said that the number still seems fishy to him, pointing out that they indicate the largest number of workers added since 1983. He says, I doubt many of us know any business person who believes the economy is growing at breakneck speed. He said Welch quit his columnist gigs with Fortune and Reuters yesterday after both outlets published stories about his comments. See, chastised, and Fortune editor criticized them on Morning Joe. Jack Welch has left our building, metaphorically, that is, a senior Fortune editor wrote in a post. Welch can't take the heat in his email. Yeah, so there's not really free speech or anything like that. I'm not sure if it ever really existed. Just authorized speech. April Jones, Matthew Woods jailed over explicit Facebook comments. Don't forget about the Marine that got locked up, dude, set in a psych ward, disappeared. The Marine for criticizing the government. Also, they're trying to get trying to ban vets from being able to have weapons. Because of PTSD, we better lock them up and protect themselves. Oh, yeah, because it's suicide. They're saying because of the increased suicide rate. So instead of addressing why they are the way they are, why they would want to put a bullet through their head because of what they saw, what they were asked to do, no, instead of looking at the mission, let's just go ahead and start banning guns from veterans, right? So it says here, Lancashire teenager sentenced to 3 months in prison after posting a joke about missing girl on Facebook. So whatever the story was, doesn't really matter. Facebook and Twitter, just like the students, like the parents and the children, take them out of the schools. Don't talk on Facebook, you know. New Jersey high school teacher who made anti-gay comments on web resigns. So she allegedly posted anti-gay comments on her personal Facebook page, has resigned, and settlement talks are underway. One comment said if her comments were offered while she was off duty, then this is a matter of the First Amendment. However, if she made similar comments in the classroom, she needs to be disciplined. It's interesting because, like, what happens to students, like that girl that wore that Romney shirt, basically, and then someone else talking about the Constitution and Republicans, and then got lambasted by a teacher who was an Obama supporter. And it says that she made the comments in classroom, she needs to be disciplined. So it's kind of interesting, too, you know, it's just, I guess it just depends on the time, right? I mean, in government textbooks, they were teaching white students back in the 1800s that Indians were savages, right? You know, cutting off their hair, couldn't speak their language, forcing a religion on them. This is all through the state, authorized by the state. Now, promoting homosexuality is being promoted by the state. So if you're not for that, well, then you can't talk, right? You can only say what you are authorized to say, and that includes teachers. Of course, if you promote it and you're just enthusiastic about it, pushing the social engineering, well, then hell, you're going to get Teacher of the Year award. Taking photos of clouds earns Texas man a visit from FBI. If you're corresponding with known terrorists and attempting to overthrow the U.S. government, it is safe to expect a knock on your door from the FBI. But what if you just happen to think that storm clouds looked really, really cool? He said he never once stepped foot on the refinery's property, but it was enough to raise suspicion nonetheless. Someone at the facility spotted him shooting photos and phoned the police. See? So that's what it came down to, who in turn rang the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. So it says here that it ended peacefully. They say this isn't to say, though, he got off without hassle, of course. When police detain you and take away your time, that's time that's robbed that you'll never get back, like waiting for a train from these monopolized trains. I mean, are you going to get compensated for having to wait for a flipping train for 10 minutes? No, you don't. And you help subsidize that too, the railroads. It says here that Haliando says that the agent asked him questions off a 3-page document that involved any history that he may have had with the U.S. military or traveling overseas. Now, Galindo says he is left wondering if the FBI has since opened up a file on him. The worst thing I've done is getting a speeding ticket, but haven't gotten one in 3 years. Or that individual doesn't understand that we're all potential terrorists, right? So the U.S. government today has more data on the average American than the Stasi did on East Germans. This comes from a radio interview. The Wall Street Journal reporter who has been covering the surveillance state in the U.S. made an observation. Goes on, it says that, of course, that we've already seen much of the data seems to be collected illegally with little oversight and with absolute no security benefit. No security benefit. The illusion of security, right? Like George Carlin says. So it makes sense, you know, he's talking about, having the FBI open up a file on him. Well, Yeah, the U.S. government has more data on the average American than the Stasi did on the East Germans. Everyone. I mean, I had a friend tell me something about the amount of space that they have, memory and space, these data forms that they collect all this information, like the NSA and that. They have information, enough infrastructure and capacity to collect every single conversation, phone message, phone, text message, voicemail, whatever, for 100 years on every single person. Just imagine that. So you have cancer patient embarrassed by security pat-down. A Michigan woman dying of leukemia says she hopes the embarrassment during a Seattle airport security pat-down might change the way the TSA treats travelers with medical conditions. Well, they're not, because they do it to old women with urination catheters sticking out and stuff like that, removing them. So she thought she'd be a good slave and prepared by calling the airhead ahead of time, asking for a wheelchair, carrying documentation for the feeding tubes and all that, but it wasn't enough. She received a full pat-down in the airport and had to lift her shirt and pull back bandages so agents could get a good look. She said everyone else in line got a good look too. But her only issue was that she was in front of everyone and everyone was looking at her like she was a criminal, like I was doing something wrong, right? Well, that's The Matrix, right? That's why I love that movie. It's very symbolic. Everyone that's around you that has their head up their ass, and pardon my French, they are in the Matrix. They are the Agent Smiths. They're all agents. Like the guy that called the cops, the guy taking pictures.